The festival of Purim requires us to give to the needy, both within and beyond our community. The terrible sequence of earthquakes in Turkey and Syria have shocked us all. We have with us the well-known and well-loved Turkish-British novelist, Elif Shafak. Elif, tell us how this goes straight to your heart.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. As you know, the earthquakes, multiple that struck in February in both Turkey and Syria, have been devastating. This has caused an immense catastrophe, an immense tragedy. The first earthquake had a magnitude of 7.8. It was a very big earthquake, lasted around 80 seconds. And by the time it was over, hundreds and thousands of buildings had collapsed. As of today, we know that more than 130,000 people have been wounded, more than 50,000 people have lost their lives. And I'm afraid that death toll is going to escalate, is going to go even further. And of course, the people who have survived, they're out in the cold. It's bitter cold. In some places, they don't have proper water, food, infrastructure. We also know that women, children, minorities especially bear this horrible burden disproportionately. They are affected even more. But if I may very quickly add this, I think what matters most is that as human beings, wherever we are in the world, that we connect, that we do not remain indifferent to each other's stories and sorrows and sufferings. And that is why this connection and this communication is incredibly precious and very much needed.
Thank you very much, Elif. We take your words to heart. Danny Lawrence, you're a member of our community. You've worked with Choose Love. You've helped create it. Just introduce us to our CEO, Josie, who's with us.
Thank you, Jonathan. So I'd like to introduce you to Josie Naughton, who is our founder and CEO, and she'll be able to talk more about the work that we're doing to help.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danny and Jonathan and Elif, and thank you to everyone who has already supported our campaign. And I have to say, in the last 7 years that Choose Love has been working, I've never seen a situation so devastating and seen the need so great. Right now we're speaking to our partners who we've been working with in that region for the last 6 years, and they are just telling us that right now there are tens of thousands of people who are in the streets. They have nowhere to stay. They need tents or access to temporary accommodation. We can help provide that if we have the funds. They need food. It's the very most basic. Even just to make a meal, they have to put wood on the fire. There's no electricity. There's no access to any of these kinds of things. Children aren't in school. They need access to informal education, to psychosocial support. The trauma upon trauma that people have been going through is just, it's really unthinkable. Families have lost, 5 members, 10 members. There are children who are in hospitals and they can't find their parents. Our partners who run the hospitals, they are telling us that they need money for fuel because there's no electricity, so they need the fuel to run the generators. They need to perform a lot of different operations for the people who were crushed in the earthquake. People have lost limbs. There is something called crush syndrome, which a lot of people are suffering from, which is when the muscles have been crushed in the earthquake and a protein is released into the body and it causes kidney failure. So there's a huge need for dialysis machines. The kind of debris needs to be cleared. Buildings that have survived need to be checked to make sure that they're safe. Camps need to be built. And we can see that the media is kind of beginning to move on, but this situation is really only just beginning. I heard the other day from someone that the effects of an earthquake can last for almost up to a decade. And so we really, as Elif said, as human beings, we need to stand with our fellow human beings and support them as best we can. So if anyone is able to help, we will make sure that those donations get right to the people who need it the most as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. And Choose Love is one of the causes we're contributing to this Purim. Thank you.